more than the upper bound target.
Yes.
By the government and even Bank of Ghana. If you look at the disparity between where the inflation and then the policy rate and the treasury rate, it tells you there's a lot more work to be done. But of course, we cannot look to monetary policy. To look to them so much is like asking fish to climb the tree right now, because the source of the problem is from the fiscal side.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that shortly. We'll get to the source of the problem and why you think we cannot look at the monetary policy so much. But just let's listen to a report my colleague Charles Nixon Yabua put together, and that will give us a bit of a background to what we're experiencing currently.
All the goods and services in the basket, which measures the rate of inflation, recorded an increase in prices year on year. According to figures from the Ghana Statistical Service, the month-on-month rate of inflation stood at 4.1%. But the financial and insurance subsector recorded no change in price for the month of May. Here is government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna Enim.
The item that recorded the highest rate of inflation for the month of May 2022 was bread, with an inflation rate of 41.3%, followed by bus and trotro fares, which has the highest rate of 5.8%, recording a year-on-year inflation of 39.9%. From the perspective of households in terms of decision making, discounting the effect of weight, we still saw diesel and petrol being part of the top 5 items that recorded the highest rate of inflation, specifically 81.1% and 62.0%.
The Upper East region registered the lowest rate of inflation of 18.7% in May, whilst the Eastern region recorded the highest rate of inflation of 31.2%.
From a regional perspective, Eastern region recorded the highest overall rate inflation of 31.2%, and Upper East recorded the least inflation of 19.5%.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Statistical Service from next month will start releasing the rate of inflation for all the 16 regions in the country.
Super Morning Show.
Great, so that's Charles Nixon Yabua's report there. But let me get back to Professor Godfred Bokping, because you talked about the source being a fiscal problem and how the monetary policy may not help in these times. Why can't it help? It's been more of a tool we've been using. Whenever we see inflation going up, we resort to an increase in policy rate. Why do you think that may not help under the circumstances?
Yes, one, the source of the inflation is largely physical. Then there's a limit to how far you can deploy monetary policy to effectively bring down inflation and engineer growth. That is where we find ourselves. So of course, monetary policy can do, but it can only do so much or how far. So that is why I'm saying that the monetary policy is constrained in terms of how we can deploy that effectively now to contain inflation and engineer growth without unnecessarily compromising growth. So that is so we expect that the fiscal side will do a little bit more than it's doing now. More so because of the monetary policy framework that we are using under inflation targeting. Because one key requirement for inflation targeting to be effective is fiscal discipline. Once you deny the monetary side, the fiscal discipline, then there's no way they can use monetary policy effectively to bring down inflation and engineer growth. That's the issue. And because of the fiscal mess, we then tend to deploy monetary policy as a broom to sweep the mess created by fiscal policy. Then in that case, monetary policy is being pursued as subordinate to fiscal policy rather than it being complementary. That's where we find ourselves right now.
So
the fiscal side needs to take shape. And we must shift our attention to the fiscal side so that the fiscal side will respond appropriately with the discipline that it requires.
Okay.
That is where we are. And if you look, it's not only now. Since independence, fiscal side...
We'll get to the since
side,
independence. We'll get to the since independence, Professor Bokping. But let's break it down. Why is the fiscal side the source of this problem? What is the mess you are talking about? Break it down for us.
So you are looking at the fiscal deficit over the years. And you are looking at the efficiency in the expenditure patterns and the redistribution effect of government spending. You are looking at taxation. the layers of taxes, the indirect based approach that we have adopted as a country is not progressive. All of that largely contribute to the high productive cost base of doing business in Ghana. You go and buy something from the shop and look at the layers of taxes, VAT, Get Fund, NHL, the sanitation, this, that. Everywhere you pass, the fiscal is after you. There's no breathing space. You are looking at the fuel and the layers of taxes in there. You are looking at the fiscal side that also contribute to depreciation of the cedi. Of course, with the transmission lag, but it crystallizes. These are the issues. And you are looking at the inefficiency within government spending and the redistribution effect that remains mute. So when you put all these things together, the ultimate burden on the average Ghanaian is so huge, and on businesses is so huge. So no matter how entrepreneurial you are, no matter how you want to manage your expenditure and all of that, the constraints imposed from the fiscal side is so difficult to overcome.
No,
and when it happens that way, businesses will not have the choice. They will pass on the effects to the consumers. But even the inflation you are talking about, 27.6%, as we have been told, it varies from region to region, right? It also varies from individuals to individuals. Sure. Because you may have a different consumption pattern, which will mean that you have a different inflation from me, from somebody else, and all of that. So somebody else's inflation may be higher than the 27.6%, of course, depending on the region you find yourself also, and also your consumption pattern, and all of that. So putting all these things together, you realize that we need to rethink our fiscal policy.
Okay, but
to make it a bit more enabling. But to do
before
so,
we get to rethinking our fiscal policy, I'll get back to you. But you've talked about, the layers of taxes. You've talked about how that makes it difficult for businesses. But when you look at our tax to GDP ratio, not the best, even within the sub-region. Now, we need revenue. Look at our expenditure patterns for over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And look at our fiscal deficits.
Yeah.
Now, once we need revenue, the sources available to us is taxation. So
listen,
yes.
What the problem is, we all agree that we need more revenue. The tax handles that have been deployed is where the problem is.
What is the problem there?
So you are looking at the tax structure. We rely heavily on indirect taxes because we are inefficient with direct tax handles. So in terms of the tax-paying population, more than 70% of them are not paying their taxes. That is the task, the job for GRA, the tax policy units of the Ministry of Finance to do so. Because we have not been able to do that, we tend to make up for that by introducing layers of indirect taxes, and by so doing, we burden the faithful few. This is where the issue is.
Okay.
Then there are other tax handles that we could deploy effectively over the years that will generate a lot more money and make the tax structure a bit more progressive and inequality reducing pattern. But we haven't done that. We've talked about exemptions, right? If you look at the revised projections from the e-levy, after the delay and the reduction from 1.75% to 1.5%, what we are hoping to generate this year is almost how much Ghana lost by way of exemptions in 2018 alone, not even the total, just an aspect. You can check the State of the Nation Address 2019. So when you put all these things together, you realize that because we are largely inefficient in deploying our tax handles along more progressive structure, we rely more on indirect taxes, which contributes to the high productive cost base of doing business in Ghana. Pick fuel, pick all the other layers. So when we are saying that we need to rethink the fiscal policy from taxation perspective to the redistribution effect, there is empirical reason and a cause why we must do so. That is the point. And then if you are looking at the drivers, food inflation, of course, some aspect of that is imported.
Yes.
But lastly, you can also blame that on domestic policy failure. This is, and probably not the creation of just this government, but over the years. I mean, a country that is capable of feeding itself, and probably our neighbors. If you look at our food imports, if you put all of that together within Africa, it's amazing that Africa will go and plead with Russia to stop firing bullets so we will be able to feed ourselves. So there will be food from Ukraine with a population far less than that of ours, and the continent that has almost 60% of the world's unused arable land had a net food import of $35 billion in 2015, projected to reach $110 billion by 2025. We should be blaming ourselves and not Russia. We should be blaming ourselves for how we failed to feed ourselves and create a necessary food buffer and link that to agribusiness and job creation. The reason we are saying this is that if you look at the employment multiplying effect of spending in agriculture and boosting agricultural productivity to the highest in Ghana within the social accounting metrics. So what it means is that if we commit to efficiently spending in agriculture and agribusiness, we have a better potential of creating decent jobs for Ghanaians and reduce inequality and poverty than we have done over the years. Because the inequality reducing effect of spending in agriculture or boosting agricultural productivity is the highest.
Okay.
Here we have control. And here we cannot blame monetary policy necessarily for this, but it's more physical.
So, Prof, we'll get to its impact on us before we look at the solutions. You've talked about how we can't blame monetary policy. Unfortunately, over the period, we've been using monetary
I'm not saying
policy.
so much.
Yes, we can't blame it so much, but over the period, that's what we have been using. An indication that we believe that it's one of the major ways of solving the problems we're faced with, isn't it?
Yes. And the role that monetary policy plays in price stability, growth, is well known. We can't push them so much under these current circumstances. We expect that the two dominant policies, fiscal policy, monetary policy, will work together to complement each other for the common good. As it stands now, that's not what is happening. And that is why I'm saying that if we are not careful, we may lay the entire blame on Bank of Ghana, whilst actually the chief culprit it will get away with murder. That is the issue. So we must have a balanced approach where we say that no, this is coming from here,
and
more
here,
than from here.
And here, who's the chief culprit?
It's the fiscal side. Those who collect taxes from you and spend it the way they want to spend it, they are the chief culprits. But put it this way, even though Bank of Ghana has the objective of price stability, and even if you talk about inflation, which is also a price, you talk about exchange rate and the rest of them, you want to look at the cost of drivers. And then you want to say that no, where we find ourselves right now, there is a limit to how far monetary policy can be deployed to contain the threat of inflation without compromising on necessary growth. If that is the case, then we should look to the fiscal side and see what reforms we can engineer such that we'll be able to use the fiscal side to contain that threat more. Then in that case, in the medium to the long term, we'll begin to see that the policy rate will also decelerate, because the idea is that if you keep increasing the policy rate, you should be mindful of rising interest rates, which in itself will have a causal effect also on government-owned debt sustainability drive, because the three variables that impact the debt sustainability are the fiscal balance, interest rates, and then real GDP growth. So when you see interest rate rising, as we have observed in the last couple of months, it has implications for debt sustainability, particularly in terms of debt affordability. So, for instance, government is now borrowing at 20%, 25%, 24%. What that will mean in the 2023 budget, the weighted average interest cost of government borrowing is going to go up. And that will mean a higher interest provision in the 2023 budget. Already is the biggest single expenditure on government resource allocation function.
Sure.
We are spending 38 billion cedis, and it could get higher as interest rate heads up. So you realize that the Ministry of Finance will be concerned anytime the policy rate also goes up, which will also push interest rate up. Because per our debt management strategy, they have the objective of minimizing government overall borrowing costs within a prudent risk level. So you see how the trade-offs are. You see how the Treasury and Debt Management Unit of Ministry of Finance will be concerned and monitoring the interest rate in the yield curve.
Okay.
As much as private sector is also concerned about rising interest rates and the fact that there's going to be a crowding out of the private sector rather than crowding them in. This is where we find ourselves.
Let's look at this. I mean, now that you've told us where we find ourselves, you've explained how that is going to impact government and its interest payments, something we've been talking about for some time now. But how about me? How about that man listening to us right now? How about that business leader who's asking himself, so what does this mean for me? What does this mean to me? Inflation at 27.6%.
That is the challenge now. The average business owner, they prefer relative certainty. It helps in planning. You are able to work with your budget. But as it stands now, they've been denied that. The best option would not be to give up. They still must pursue cost rationalization, cut down on cost where it is feasible, deploy greater digitization and digitalization in your business as a way of also generating new revenue streams and contain costs. That will be critical. That will be critical.
But while that will be critical, and you also would realize that today, a lot of the banks, because of the increase in monetary policy rate, are writing to customers to say, well, we need to increase the interest rates. And so that in itself is taking something away from you.
Yeah.
So that's making the individual worse off. One, you're buying goods at a higher cost. Two, the little money that you have is also being taking off because of an increase in the interest rates through no fault of yours. And if you are a private person or if you're a business person and your cost is going up, expansion becomes a difficulty for you. How can you survive without passing it on? And if you have to pass it on, how then would we be able to bring down the rate of inflation?
That is why we said that there has to be a starting point, because the fiscal side plays a very dominant role in the economy. That has to happen. Once that is guaranteed, it's easier for the private sector, businesses, individuals to also plug in and move forward. But when you find yourself in this situation, you must explore other alternative sources of financing rather than maybe relying on banks necessarily. You may have to seriously consider the little profit that you make, how you want to dissipate that. Probably the best way would be to plow back. In these circumstances, you may want to be mindful how dividend policy would have to be altered.
Sure.
Right. So you are able to plow back the profit because that is your IGF. It's cheap, but of course it's limited to how much you've been able to generate. Also depending on the stage of your business and the type of the business, it's not every kind of business that can walk to the bank. Okay, because depending on the stage, the type, you may need more of patient capital, but banks don't offer patient capital. You may want to explore venture capital approach. You also want to explore the possibility of raising equity through the Ghana Stock Exchange, the alternative market. So you need to consider the various sources and the specific mix of capital that you are employing that inures to the good of your business. You need to do that at this stage of the business. And then also business owners, particularly indigenous Ghanaian business owners, you must be looking at adopting a lifestyle that guarantees the going concern of your business. Because sometimes you realize that businesses, when they are doing well, then it's all kinds of expensive lifestyles that they load on the business, and it suffocates the business. So you need to look at the entire value to the business, put it on the table and analyze it carefully. That in these difficult times, I will choose my business over my lifestyle. I'll choose to plow back the profit rather than maybe using it this way, using it that way, and the rest of them. Because you see that even when inflation is going up like this, the advice is not only to businesses, even to individuals. Okay, so as I said, your inflation rate may be different from mine, right? So when it happens this way, you want to look at your consumption pattern, which are the most expensive items that you are buying, that probably you can look for substitute or something as a way of managing this. It's very, very important. It's not only to businesses, but to individuals as well, because these are really challenging times. I'm just hoping.
So let's focus on the individual. I mean, now that you've and the individual here, I see that you're probably talking to that individual in the middle to upper class. He can afford to cut a few things, but there are people down there who can't cut anything because already what you think they're having, they do not have. How do they survive?
Look, this matter that you have brought up, when I was in the business school, probably more market focused, that everything will be settled by forces of demand and supply. But I quickly realized when I went to the Dean of Student office that people are truly individuals. That we have university students who probably can't afford to eat once a day. I'm talking about universities because this is what I do. I interact with them. It doesn't have to get worse than that. Yes. We do know there are increasingly large number of Ghanaians who go to bed not so sure where their next meal will come from. Even let's look to Ghana Statistical Service, the food insecure survey that was done and released 2022, I think from 2009 to 2020 or 2019, that 3.6 million Ghanaians are food insecure, majority of them in the northern region. Look, that's what I'm saying, that fiscal policy has more explanation to give. Ghanaians do not deserve this. We deserve better than this. But it's not only university students. When you drive through the town and you see the streets, and you see the aggressiveness, some of them just want to sell something as little as 5 cedis. And sometimes you see and realize that they are not looking for so much. They don't want to live at Achimota Forest. No, they are not looking for a land at Achimota Forest. They are not looking at a part of Jubilee House, whatever whose wheels it appears. Just a meal a day. And this is what people go through on daily basis. You know, it's worrying. We have people deferring their programs just because they can't pay 200 Ghana cedis. And it may get a little bit more worse because we are seeing the trend because of the free senior high school, right? In the time past, perhaps money was a problem, but now it's about your head. So we have people entering the university tertiary institutions with very low income level. And all of this may affect the output, the quality of the output that will come out at the end of the day. So please, this provides an important platform for us. The political economy, from the monetary side, from private sector side, civil society. Look, we need to have a broader conversation that is geared towards the common good. It may be well with you, but until it is well with everybody else, just know that you are not safe. We are sitting on a time bomb. You can postpone your marriage. You can delay your engagement, or even you can disengage after you've been engaged. But how long can you postpone hunger? That is what is on the plate and before a lot of Ghanaians on increasing basis. Inequality is getting worse.
Okay. Now, let's come to a final point. From the fiscal side, what measures must be put in place to help mitigate this? What measures must be put in place to ensure that next month when we come, we don't have inflation rising to say 31.6 or 31.7%, but reducing to maybe say 15% or maybe even just 25%. Yes, Prof.
Government must take a hard look at its expenditure and downsize the size of government.
Well, they've cut
for signaling purposes.
Okay.
It's very important as a way of also generating confidence. You know, all that is happening. The reason I'm saying so is that trust in our democratic institutions is going down. And until we do that, the democratic dividend, holding other factors constant, may not trickle down to the ordinary Ghanaian. We need to downsize the size of government overall. It's important. And we must link that also to the legislature. We don't need 275 MPs.
You want us to reduce the number of MPs?
We can begin that conversation. What will be the optimal number and all of that? But my understanding right now is that that number is just too much. It's expensive running that. It's expensive. Perhaps when things improve and we can afford, we can have whatever. But we should be looking at what the country can absorb as we try to make progress. We must do that. If we're able to do that, then we can free up some fiscal space to embark upon growth-enhancing spending that would inure to the common good. The reason, when you look at the 2022 budget and even the enhanced measures that we are now, you do not find a lot of comfort in terms of a fiscal sustainability part, is because there's practically no fiscal space. And you don't see any policy interventions backed by appropriate spending that would engineer and enhance growth, inclusive growth, in the next 2 years, 3 years. And that is where my worry comes from, or I'm concerned.
You talked about
we
taxes.
Must do that. And then also, even if you look at in the midst of all of this, that's when government is introducing e-levy. But we must work to improve efficiency and greater compliance along the existing tax handles. If we could do that, we will generate a lot more revenue, block those leakages. Because studies have shown, and you can contact the IEA, and other think tanks, that Ghana loses as much as we are able to generate by way of tax revenue because of leakages. You don't solve that problem by introducing e-levy. You block those leakages within the existing tax handles. If you are inefficient at doing those things, then introducing additional tax layers only makes matters worse for the faithful few without necessarily solving the bigger problem.
Okay. Talking about the bigger problem, let's also focus on maybe interim measures, because what we are faced with, we should be looking at improving things for the people, even within the interim, while we look at long-term measures. We've seen in other jurisdictions, for instance, a reduction in taxes as a way of cushioning people, particularly import duties on commodities that are imported the most. Should Ghana be thinking of going the same way as, for instance, Kenya is doing?
It wouldn't be out of proportion to explore that within the policy mix. It wouldn't be out of proportion. As it stands now, we expect a response from the fiscal side. That cannot be delayed for that long. So government must look at its own policy mix and see in which areas can we meet Ghanaians halfway in these very tough times without necessarily compromising the outlook. And what will also help government in times like this is to be open. Look, government cannot claim that they know it all. Even if they do, it doesn't help. It only makes matters workable for you when you are open, transparent, with greater disclosure, and embrace alternative ideas on the table. That's important.
Okay, but talking about government must look at areas it can touch without compromising the general outlook. Just tell me one or two of those areas government can touch.
You want to look at the poor, the energy sector, the taxes in those areas.
Okay.
You've also talked about certain items, imports, food items. Look at the drivers of that inflation.
Okay.
What can we do in these areas?
Okay.
And as I've said, there is policy room to do some adjustments without compromising the outlook when you then focus on greater compliance and efficiency. Because data exists that the leakages and all of that is costing us as much as we're able to generate.
Okay.
So it means that there is room of improvement without burdening the faithful few. So we want to look at all that is available at your disposal. Because as it stands now, we just can't throw our hands into the air and say that there's nothing we can do, and all that we have to say, the policy rate must respond. So.
All right. Professor Godfred Bokwi, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
To have you joining us.
God bless you.
God bless you too on the Super Morning Show. This is the Super Morning Show on Joy99.7 FM. When we return after these messages, it will be your turn to tell us the sort of adjustments you've had to make in dealing with a rising inflation. This is the Super Morning Show. We'll be activating the phone lines on 0302-216540 and then 055-1111-997. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
What would you do if you have the choice to do anything in life? Build your dream house, take very good care of your family, and plan for a comfortable retirement. Plan a befitting funeral for your loved ones when they depart. How would you live if you knew there was a friend waiting to support you on all of your life's choices?
You have such a friend in Glyco Life Insurance. Glyco Life has all the plans to meet your life's needs. Your child's education, your life savings, your mortgage, funerals, redundancy, and your retirement, and takes the burden off your shoulders. So go ahead and live life to the fullest today with Glyco Life Insurance plans. And remember that all our policies are hedged against inflation. Talk to Glyco Life on 0302 218 500 or 246 142. Also visit our website at www.glycolife.com or any of our branches nationwide for more information.
Glycolife, we cushion you for life.
Glyco, we cushion you for life.
Are you interested in studying in top universities and colleges in India? All you need to do is to visit the Study in India Expo at the Movenpick Ambassador Hotel, Accra on the 13th and 14th of June 2022. Come and meet top universities and colleges offering 200 plus courses and scholarships, all under one roof. Don't miss the Study in India Expo at the Movenpick Hotel on 13th and 14th of June. Organized by Affairs. Lead partner, Study in India. Supported by the High Commission of India, Accra. Register online at studyinIndiaExpo/Africa or call 0556 567 613 or 0247 035 347.
Brakweku, can you fix the gas for me? It's leaking.
Oh, this one simple crowd. Just carry the stone for flogging me, make a take put stop. You see, say stop.
Wow, but what if the stone falls down?
Taking risks with your gas cylinder is taking risks with your safety. Get serious quality with Sigma cylinders. Visit sigmaghana.com or visit our showroom in Accra, Opera Square, North Industrial Area, and Pagan Road, and in Kumasi, or call us on 0593 833 332 and find out more about our high quality gas cylinders made right here in Ghana. Sigma cylinders, exceptional cylinders for exceptional energy.
Wait, Mr. Lawson. So what is this?
I'm checking my money
For what?
It's getting to the end of the month. I'm going to pay my rent.
You haven't heard of rent to own?
Rent to own?
Well, under the Plant City Extension project, they offer you a whopping discount for this month of May. But listen, you pay just 20% of the property and it's all yours. 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom houses. Plus, they are even developing beachfront house. Mr. Lawson, reach them on www.newaccra.city or call 05555 30300 0577 9111 01 or 055 7054 635. Plant City Extension Project, shaping Ghana's urban future.
I'm moving into my
you better.
My first thing was sneaking into the fridge to sip on some Ideal milk.
My first telephone was 2 empty tins of Ideal milk connected by a long string.
My first taste of freedom was when I had 1 full tin of Ideal to myself in
Make more beautiful memories with Ideal milk as we celebrate our 50th anniversary. You can win a brand new car and other exciting prizes when you text the special code behind each Ideal original anniversary label. The more you buy and text, the better your chances. This advert is FDA approved.
You love it, don't you? Delicious, and nutritious.
Hello, mums. Cerelac has a new look and is fortified with Iron Plus. Rest assured, Mum, baby has adequate nutrition support for growth and development. New Cerelac, same love.
Mommy loves you.
Cerelac. It's all good, Mum. This advert is FDA approved.
Say donut, 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 donut. Hey, donut, 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 donut. Donut, donut. Then come cotton. Donut, donut, donut. Malaria syrup, donut. Everybody follow nut, sa malaria. A 3D donut now. Wogonto. Malaria chill. Wohopopo. What do you do? I want you. Donut, donut. Tobacco. Donut. Adamienu, Dumlonat, Adamiensa, Dumlonat, no. Lonat, scatter malaria. Lonat, it is scatter malaria.
A quality product from Blaze GVS Pharma. Yenshishemu who se malaria wa umojum ansana wanum Lonat. Na nam yensearch na malaria no daso wo hwa ko hu dokota.
This advert is FDA approved.
Charlie, so it's actually raining and we can't hear any sound. As for this your house, when it's raining, no sound. When the sun is up, the interior is cool. What roof are you using?
They use Ico roofing shingles from Interface Limited. Long lasting and beautiful.
Ico roofing shingles. We all for move to Interface and get this Ico roofing shingles.
Interface Limited is the leading supplier and installer of finishing input materials for the building and construction industry in Ghana. Call us on 0274 999999 or visit our website at
www.interfacelimited.net. Facebook Interface Limited GH. Instagram Interface.limited.
From now till August 2022, Litina Travel and Tours is giving you the opportunity to make this summer the most memorable time for you and your family. Walk into any UMB branch or call Litina Travel and Tours to find out how you too can present your family with an unforgettable experience at Disneyland Paris. It's open to everyone looking to have an amazing experience this summer. It's $3,600 for adults and $2,990 for children. 8% off early bird discount available. It includes flight, 8-day stay in Paris, a boat trip on the Seine River, visit to the Eiffel Tower, Champs-Élysées, the monuments, and many more. Visit the nearest UMB branch or call Litina Travel and Tours on 050-565-7821 or ask Sika, the UMB virtual assistant. WhatsApp at 0266 020 400 or at www.myumb Bank for more information today.
Morning Show.
Coffee in your cup and joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy 99.7 FM. FM.
Well, and that's George Dakon with Money Palava. Money Palava. It actually depicts the situation we find ourselves in currently. But are you an employer and are your employees covered against life's eventualities? Allianz Group Life Plan is what you need. Speak to us at Allianz Life to customize a plan that protects your business and adequately provides for your employees and their families when life's eventualities happen. For more information, call us on 0308-249-090. Allianz Life, we secure your future. And Kingdom Books wants you to know that you don't have to walk to their offices. You can simply shop by getting onto kingdomstoreonline.com, and they would arrange delivery to your homes and offices within a reasonable time. And they offer free delivery within Accra and Tema and accept payment via Momo across all networks. Terms and conditions apply. At Kingdom, quality and affordability are their hallmarks. So talking about inflation and all, even before we get onto the phone lines, and you'll be joining us on 0302-216-541 and 055-1111-997. I want to ask you a very simple question. What was your last grocery budget the last time you went shopping? Think about it. Maybe last year or this year. What was the budget the last time you went shopping? Because in the latest edition of our Living Standard series, Mamiesi Thompson and the team have been to the markets and they've been finding out the prices of food. And this is what they found.
I came to do shopping for the house and we couldn't buy anything.
Like today now, I budget like 3 point something. I came here now, it's 4 point something. I have to go back.
And it's like time almost here. I brought 10 million and so nearly my piano matter. Now then, all the Agusono. Me pacho near one of the Agusono. Mempen, ma, fantastic say when I make Guso.
The scorching sun isn't the only thing that irritates Josephine in the Agbebulushi market. Traders slapping her with exorbitant prices irritates her.
Yes, no, yes, Christo.
Yes, Christo, but I think I'm toast boy.
Ghana.
I see 80 Ghana and Pona, all the Amayansa. So they all got to know a chop by the apron at the Bamau. Oh, dear Dobba, Diania, oh, Yare.
At this point, Josephine had to think on her feet. The money she brought to the market was inadequate, so she changed the meal plan in order to feed her family.
I came to do shopping for the house and we couldn't buy anything.
What were you coming to buy?
Tomatoes, pepper and onion.
And how did you find the prices?
Very difficult. Very difficult. We couldn't buy. Common broom, this one for 5 cedis. Broom. 5 cedis.
Wow.
From Agbebulonshio. So going to Makola, how can you buy?
She planned her budget based on the prices she had met a few weeks before. A small bucket of tomatoes cost 20 cedis at the time. However, 2 weeks later, she's purchasing it for 40 cedis. She needs to withdraw more funds from her mobile money account.
2 weeks ago, you could buy this for 20 cedis. And today it said 80, but she gave it to us for 40 cedis.
2 weeks.
2 weeks ago, you can buy this for 20 cedis.
But today, how much are you buying?
40. Times the last 2 weeks' money. So right now it's 40 instead of 20.
So how much do you now budget for the market?
Can we buy the debt? The money we brought is finished. We have to go to the NTM guy to get another money. So we don't know what to do. So if we are going to pick dropping from here to home, then we pay the driver at home because we don't even have the money to pay the transport.
Josephine is not the only one facing this difficulty. Hajia was just around the corner, scouring the market for better options. However, the prices of the majority of the items she intended to purchase had doubled or tripled.
The oil, the 25 liters is 4.5. She says 4.5, and the higher too is the same price. They say it's 4.5.
Is that what you budgeted for?
I budget like, let's say 3 point something.
Okay.
And the Maggie, madam, please, the Maggie, like the amount is, yes, 16 cedis. And before it's like 14 or 13. Now they say it's 16. So the tomatoes to everything, the money is increasing.
Hajia is only left with two options. Either borrow money from her sister or leave and return later.
When there is no money and everything is expensive, it's not everybody that have the money to buy something like that. You understand? No matter how little or small you have, we can go to market and buy some small thing to feed our family. But how the thing is expensive every time they are hiding money, some people can't come to the market. You understand? Like today now, I budget like 3 point something. I came here now, it's 4 point something. I have to go back or to get money from my sister, the one we come to hide it, or else I can't buy it.
In the last 5 months, food prices have been volatile. The impact of the depreciating cedi and rising fuel prices has aggravated the situation. Auntie Akwele trades in oil, rice and spices.
Ebaya osa wenya 5 cedis ubekọ no star de beso so no ebro 10 cedis anwa we last week na ye de 40 ye ko fan.
These days when we go for the goods and sell, we run at a loss. I took stock of oil last week for 39 cedis to sell at 40 cedis, but now it's gone up to 45. I wish I could go and take more goods, but I'm not sure if I will get it at the old prices. Cubes were sold at 32 cedis, but now it is 36. We hardly make profits these days.
Tusha nyamano ye sese ya tumu nso a enya kakra bi o ye tumu 400 500 ne de atu hwe nso ni ho a obeyinti weto ne sa tisa na nyamano sese akwa.
Dinah traveled from Kaswa to Agbogloshi for better prices. She is here to shop for a funeral ceremony.
These are some of my items: rice, yam, chicken, tomatoes, and many others. When we came, the prices had gone up. We spent about 5,000 cedis for these few items.
Auntie Deborah sells beans and fried plantain. I chanced on her trying to stock up on oil and other ingredients. She had already spent 1,000 Ghana cedis, way above her budget.
Market these days is expensive. Every time I come, there are new prices. Today the oil cost 4.5, but some days ago it was less than that. When we go for goods, the prices are unstable.
The next time you plan on coming to the market, brace yourself for a bumpy price ride, as you can never tell how much your shopping list will cost. Don't blame your wachi vendor if she decides to sell food for 5 cedis or more.
Situation from the markets. I mean, tomatoes that was bought a week or two ago for 20 Ghana cedis. The next time she went to the market, it was 40 Ghana cedis. That's a 100% increase in price. And so you can understand when Professor Bokwing says your personal inflation may be different from the general inflation. Where you shop and the things you shop, mind you, inflation, thousands of items put together would give us the general rate of inflation 27.6%. But your personal inflation may be different and would require certain adjustments be made. You've seen the people, you've heard the people in the market talk about whether they have to go back home, bring in more money, or resort to borrowing, or maybe having to even cut down on the things that they need. That's what we're looking at now. And so time now to hear from you. Time now for you to tell us the adjustments that you've made due to a rise in the rate of inflation. You can give us a call now on 0302 216 541 or 055 1111 997. Please join us and tell us what your thoughts are, what adjustments you've made, and how that is impacting you. We'd love to hear from you, so together we can figure out what to do. You've heard from Professor Bobking. He's talking about how you need to cut down on a few things. If you can afford, please cut down on some of the things that you currently have. But what are those things that you're cutting off? What are those things? What are those adjustments that you're making? And so if you go to the market, what are the adjustments that you're making today? Would love to know. Would love to hear and know the adjustments that you're making. And so give us a call now on 0302 216 541 and then 055 1111 997. Kwame is our Legon. Kwame, good morning. Kwame, can you increase the volume on your radio set so we can hear you properly? Hello, Kwame. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, Kwame, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Good, so, yes.
What adjustments have you made?
Say again?
What adjustments have you made to deal with?
I have made lots of that. I've made lots of, especially, I'm a family man, so, I would, you can understand, I would have to make adjustments on, general household, utility, food, electricity, water.
So share some of those adjustments. Let's practicalize it. So, for instance,
so we usually beginning of the month we buy things in bulk. If it's milk, we buy it in bulk. But now we'll have to make do with buying it in singles, in units. Because if it's ideal milk, we're buying it in, let's say, a box. But now we'll have to, because the price started increasing from when it was 2 cedis, 3 cedis, 4 cedis, 5 cedis. It's now 6 cedis.
Really?
Yes. But you don't take,
no,
you don't use those items?
No, I don't take milk.
You don't take milk?
No.
Then you should be taking a similar thing like that, right? I was listening to Professor Bobkin. I'm doing a PhD on climate change and food security. Okay. So there were a lot of very important critical observations he made. That by 2025, which is 3 years from now, we'll be spending over 100 billion. That is scary. That is very bad. Let's as a country, let's sit down. Another observation I made when he was talking is that there should be transparency. Up to now, with all these difficulties, the president has not made any indication to come and talk to us and tell us that, like it happened with the leadership in Singapore. Come and tell us, tell the people what is wrong. I don't know, if you hide it, it will show.
Okay.
What is the benefit in hiding difficulties government face? It will show eventually. Come and tell us, my people, these are the things happening. We're in a country where we import everything, and it's not funny. Agric, they've been saying, this is what we've been drumming home. Agric. Why should the budget of Ministry of Finance be more than the Ministry of Agric? You understand?
Yes,
the Ministry of Agric budget should be bigger than every ministry, every government. I am telling you.
Thank you very much, Kwame from Legon, for joining us. Seth is in Accra. Seth, good morning.
Good morning, Wilson.
Yes, Seth. Hope you're fine.
Very much.
Great. We're thankful to God that you're doing well. What adjustments have you made?
Really, in fact, I sat down with my wife last 2 weeks after she went to the market with 500 Ghana cedis and came out with a handy good that we bought. Handy. So we sat down and did analysis. We realized there's no way our salary can compensate for the rising prices. So we have to cut straight away. The children are no longer going to take milk. So it is Milo without milk. Imagine. Since I have to sit the family down and tell them the measurement of the toothpaste per day. They also have to cut it down once a day instead of twice in a day. Washing and all those things curtailed. My question is then, if I humbly can ask, so you find out from the politicians, do they have research team? Do the politicians or the political parties have research team who go to the ground and then listen to the radio stations, listen to the media, after that go to the ground themselves and find out what is happening so they can more or less leverage it against what is happening generally? Because, frankly speaking, the Ghanaians are suffering. You know, right now, I have somebody in our house, some people in our house whose children are going to private school. This term, they are not going to school. They are waiting for the new term so they can find government school for them. And the government school from where we are, it takes you about 5 kilometers. So now they are in the house. The children, because they owe the last term school fees, so they are in the house because they could not go to school to pay off the last term, let alone start this year. So can you imagine? So people are really suffering. Right. For the first time you go to a gas filling station, you can't buy. I was there, and only 1 out of 100 will buy full cylinder full.
Thank you very much, Seth, for joining us. Let's get to Weja. Noche, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. I believe you're fine too.
Very well, by the grace of God.
Great.
I'm waiting.
Yes,
this is the time we want to hear from the Agric Minister once more. That aside, these days what I've done is that I do not prepare breakfast. That would take a lot of diary because you can't buy the milk these days. Hello?
Yes, I'm listening. Oh, unfortunately, we've lost you. Please try and get in touch with us again. You're telling us about, you not preparing breakfast. That would require a lot of milk these days. Would love to hear from you. You can also join us on 0302 216 541 and then 0551111 Papansa, good morning.
Good morning, historian.
Yeah, Papansa.
How are you?
I'm fine. I believe you're fine too.
Oh, by grace.
Great.
How's your Kung Fu?
Kung Fu is doing well by the grace of God.
With all this hardship, Kung Fu cannot descend and solve things. but people are trying. But my question is, historian.
Papansa, can you reduce the radio set at the background, okay?
Okay. Historian.
Yes, sir.
My problem is, with all these topics that the people are discussing, is this politician...
Papansa, since we can still get the feedback, can you reduce it? Or just turn it off, you hear us.
Akongo?
Yes, Papansa, you're better now. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm asking, with this hardship that Ghanaians are complaining, is government listening to us? Yeah, right now, a loaf of bread is 12 cedis. It's not easy. Let's talk about milk. Even the other time I called my family, I sat them down, as the previous caller said. I was telling them, of late, we don't buy things, and you people will come from school, you go and take your daddy bread, drink, then everything is finished. Now you have to go buy formless. So I'm asking you, Joy, please call even the Agric Minister or even Kojo Oponkruma to come and explain to Ghanaians, because this planting for food, one down, one district, we don't see anything. Right now, even tomatoes, it's not easy.
Papansa, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's go to Koforidia. Is it Sharon Jr.? Hello, Sharon.
Hello.
Yes, good morning. Hope you're fine.
Yeah, good morning.
Great. Tell us the adjustments you've made.
Yeah, Wilson.
Yes, sir.
You know, the thing is not really about adjustment. You know, how long shall we continue to do adjustment? We've been doing adjustment since this year started. It's been 6 months to 7 months now. We are still doing adjustment. Look, when we raise issues about these fuel prices, the politician will come and tell you that deregulation started under NDC. You know, during the NDC time, this government went through that economic distance for 16 months. June 15th, 2015, all the way to December 2015. That was 6 months. Plus the whole of 2016 to December 4th, when the first pricing window was done. Cumulatively, it was 16 months of deregulation under NDC. What was the cost of fuel? 3.60 per liter, 14 cedis per gallon. Today, what do we see? There is money in the economy. If government can dish out all these monies in the building of National Cathedral, where we are suffering, do you feel all right to ask us to tell you our adjustment plans? It is about telling the people to pile more pressure on this government to make life more bearable for us. We are suffering. We are suffering. We call for cost of living allowance. Nothing is given. Yet, look at how these people have pot bellies and prosperous neck backs. Why should we break our backs to fund these people in government? In fact, I am rather calling on you, the media, to pile more pressure on this government because they are detached from reality. They don't see our suffering. Okay. So it is not about adjustment, Winston.
All right, Sharon, I get you. Thank you very much for your comments, taking and will be used in our subsequent productions. Let's get to Hacho. Bernard, good morning.
Good morning, Winston.
Yes, Bernard.
Winston, do you think we have a president?
We do.
Because I don't think we have a president. Because, listen to this. We are facing inflation. Why are we facing the inflation? We are facing it because of things like high fuel costs and all that. All these things are happening because of the war. Now, when you go to India, they are now getting reduced fuel from Russia. They are buying from Russia. India is a sovereign state. They decided to buy from Russia. What is preventing, if we have a president, okay, I would want to believe that he is of sound mind. So what is preventing him from also going to buy the cheaper fuel so that he can reduce the fuel and then it will reduce his prices and his cost of living?
Well,
what's preventing him?
Bernard, what happens with fuel is that, and you had the previous caller talk about a deregulated market. So you have oil marketing companies and BDCs that would supply these oil marketing companies. So it's a private thing, and so the oil marketing companies will contract the BDCs to supply them.
It's a private thing. Now, who is the president? You see why I'm asking, do we have a president? It's the president that made it private. So the president cannot step in when we are in big trouble like this. You see, we don't have a president. We probably just have a puppet. Democracy will not give us president.
Hold on, no. We have a president. At no point in this country would we not have a president. We have a president all the time. So let's move to Claude in Tema. Claude, good morning.
Good morning. I think we all feel that the pinch, things are really tough. Your budget doesn't suffice like previously. But, as for talking about the hardship, we can talk about it, but I always believe in solutions. The economy is struggling. If an economy is import dependent, how do we survive? So we all have to look at what the government is doing, and then the MPs in their various constituencies should be able to identify what can be produced and maybe value added to it, create employment and create more money, and maybe look at export. Then the economy can be strong. But other than that, I don't know. The bane of this whole thing is the revolution. that collapsed all the industries in this country, you know. And those people who were in the revolution, some of them are still in government and are criticizing everybody. But they have really collapsed Ghana's economy. At the time of the revolution, Ghana was like Malaysia. And look at where they've got into. Revolution came, they sold industries to themselves, you know, collapsed most of them. And now they are blaming a new government who wants to put in place new industries. I just wonder. Thank you very much.
Thank you also, Claude from Tema. Let's get to Medina, where Kojo is. Kojo, good morning.
Good morning, please. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Hope you're fine too.
Yeah, managed.
Great.
Could you, what can you see? We have a serious problem with this.
Can you position yourself properly and speak up a bit so we can hear you?
Okay. Please, is that a bit better now?
It's better now.
Okay. We have a big problem with this country because we are in a country where you pay taxes and then the tax will be collected, but the purpose of which you pay the taxes will not be allocated for that purpose. And I don't understand. Everything you buy, especially if you go to the shopping malls and stuff like that, everything you buy, you'll be taxed with NHIL, get fund, blah, blah, blah. But we are still having problems with government owing those health institutions. So where does those taxes go to?
Okay.
I just don't understand. And we have a government whereby he only comes into power and thinks of how to tax the people, how to get into the pockets of the people, but not how to put money or something into the pocket of the people.
Okay.
Every government comes and, you know, he taxes the people like how the previous government comes and goes and tax stuff. This government came, they took all those taxes. Yes, they said it's not enough. They have to get into the pocket of the people, into their mobile phones, and tax the simple money they want to share with their families. In a way of transferring the money, this government said he must have a share of it.
All right.
Listen, it's a problem.
Thank you very, very much, Kojo from Medina, who will be our final caller for now. This is the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Winston Amwa. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
On Friday, 24th June 2022.
The feeling of being the champion of the famous